Hello, everyone. Today we're going to focus on school-wide behavior norms and how they fit into the development of a school-wide teaching matrix. The big idea is that before we think about how we respond to challenging behavior, we want to make sure we've created systems that proactively set students and staff up for success. So when we think about behavior, it can be easy to jump immediately to how should we respond when a student does this? But instead, we really want to take a step back and ask, what can we do ahead of time to make success more likely? Before planning how to respond to behavior, we want to establish school-wide and classroom systems that prevent behavior challenges and make expectations clear. Our goal really is to show students what success looks, sounds, and feels like across different situations and settings. This is especially important because these expectations may look different depending on where students are and what they're being asked to do. So when thinking about behavior in the context of it being instructional, we really want to frame it in a way that we are thinking about teaching students the behaviors that we'd like to see in specific contexts in our schools. If a child doesn't know how to read, we teach them. If they don't know how to swim, we teach them. If they don't know how to multiply or drive, we teach them. And we want to take the same approach when it comes to behavior. There are a number of ways schools can create these preventative systems. This includes creating a sense of belonging, establishing psychological and physical safety, reinforcing positive interactions with a growth mindset, celebrating success, building relationships, and strengthening academic engagement. The behavior matrix helps us act together with clarity, so everyone feels known, valued, and a part of our community when we put all these components together. As we've discussed previously, behavior is not random. It is learned, observable, and influenced by the environment. That becomes especially important when we start developing our matrix because we're not just listing rules. We're thinking about the environmental context and the behaviors we want to see within that context. The ABCs can help us understand the why behind the what we want to include in our matrix, and that's the ABCs of behavior. A school-wide matrix serves several purposes. It defines and reinforces the school's vision and mission. It creates common language, aligns expectations with school data, and communicates a positive vision of what successful behavior looks like. Importantly, the matrix has three major components: norms, locations, and skills. Norms are the broad characteristics we value. Locations identify the context where expectations are needed, and skills describe what specific behaviors we want to see. Let's look at a few examples. This school has chosen respect, responsibility, and safety as its broad norms. Those norms are often translated into specific, positively stated skills for different locations. Notice that the matrix doesn't simply say what students shouldn't do, instead, it describes what we want students to do. In this example, the school has created their school-wide matrix with visuals that include multiple locations. And this is a great option for students who are at the pre-K level, as they need visuals to really understand and grasp the norms, and those visuals are great reminders when they see them posted around the building. Again, in this example, we see the behavior skills stated very clearly and positively, and this matrix also included the location for buses. We want to make sure that we include our bus drivers into our behavior matrix process and that we're carrying over those norms into all the contexts of school, including the bus. You can also see that this school has included multiple locations and even crisis situations. This helps ensure that expectations are relevant to the different contexts students experience throughout the school day. For example, the hallway, students might be expected to maintain their place in line, keep their hands and feet to themselves, and follow directions. At recess, expectations might include taking turns, letting everyone play, and using kind words. The important piece is that the broad norm stays consistent, while the specific skill changes based on the context. Now, this matrix provides us an example of increased accessibility. The matrix also doesn't have to be posted everywhere in its entirety. To increase accessibility, schools can post the portion of the matrix that is most relevant to each location. That way, students and staff are seeing the expectations that apply to them in that specific environment. When you're ready to create your matrix, let's look at some of the steps we want to complete. First, we want to identify 3 to 5 school norms, identify contextually inappropriate behavior by location, define the specific behavior skills you want to see, and obtain feedback from your school and community. That includes students, parents, and community members. When you're identifying your school norms, you are stating that your norms are broad principles or values that the school promotes to help create a positive and productive learning environment. The goal of the norms are to engage the school community in behaviors or life skills that students need to possess to be successful in their lives beyond school and into adulthood. A great place to start with creating your norms is your school values. Your school values are the principles and beliefs that guide your culture and climate. Your norms should reflect those underlying values. For example, if respect is an important school value, then respectful may become one of your school-wide norms. Once you have feedback from your staff members, family or caretakers, students, and community partners, discuss those responses as a school team, as a school leadership team. Which norms are most common for all school community members? Do the most common norms align with the school's mission and vision? Decide on what school norms that you want to focus on teaching behavior skills. Those school norms will go on to your school-wide teaching matrix. As you're doing this, don't worry about getting it right the first time or getting it perfect the first time. This is the process, and you take your time as a team to create an appropriate school-wide teaching matrix that's appropriate for your school.